folks. Welcome to another episode of Paranormal Legends podcast. I am your host, James, aka Assassin. So, first and foremost, I apologize for not uploading Saturday. And if you are in the North Carolina area, you know we had some pretty bizarre and weird weather, okay? And I'm gonna get more into that later on. But it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday night. Halfway through the work week. So I hope everybody is having a phenomenal week. If not, then only you have the power to change that. Burn some sage. If you're a smoker, go ahead and roll one up. I mean, you might as well. If you're a drinker, pull up a cup, get you a beer, sit down, kick up your feet, and relax. So, as I said, it's Wednesday. Story Time Wednesdays. Now, basically, I will be giving you some personal accounts, whether it's sent to me or whether it's just some accounts that's out here on the web, okay? As I get more people to participate, then it will be all personal accounts that's sent to me. But until then, I have to make do with some of the stories I find. And some of the stories I found are pretty extravagant, pretty good. Now, what I'm going to do, every Wednesday, I'm going to start it out with one of my personal accounts, okay? So each Wednesday, I'm going to give you another paranormal or supernatural experience that I have went through, okay? Alright, let me take a sip of my tea. 1 second. Alright, cool. So, now, let's see. What experience can I give y'all? Okay, perfect. So around this time, I was about 18, 19. Just got a car, right? Just got a car. Well, it was probably like a year into me getting a car. And once you first get that car, you know what I'm saying, hey, you can't stay off the road. You know what I'm saying? You want to drive everywhere. You want to go hang out with your homies. You know what I'm saying? You want to link up with different people. Cool. So it was about 2 a.m. About 2 a.m., 2:30, about 2:30 a.m., something like that. And I was on the way home. I was coming back from South Carolina. So as I'm driving, this was around, I'm going to say it was around October. So, you know what I'm saying, the moon was high, there's no leaves on the trees like that, and the moonlight is really illuminating everything. It was beautiful, NC at its finest. So I'm on the back roads, and in every in every car I've had, I've always had a system in my cars, right? So just letting you know. So as I'm rolling down the road, I got the music blasting, you know what I'm saying? I'm vibing. I'm probably like an hour out away from home and everything. So I'm on this back road. I want to say it was 742. Was it 742 or 109? I think it was 740. No, it was 109. It was 109. My bad. It was 109. So I'm on 109 and I'm driving. Now, I have a habit of constantly looking into my rearview mirror, right? And you know what I'm saying, just always checking my surroundings. I've always been like that, even before the military. I've always been like that, right? So I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and it's like I see a small black speck. Now it's really kind of hard to see, and once the bass hit, your rearview mirror shakes and vibrates, so you really can't get a clear picture. I'm thinking, okay, it's vibrating, so I'm just seeing some type of matrix in the rearview mirror. So after a while, I'm still seeing it. So I turned my music down. Better yet, I turned it off. Sorry. I turned it off, right? So, or at least enough to where the bass won't rattle the rearview mirror. So, I'm still seeing this black speck. Okay, I know it wasn't an animal or anything like that because it was just literally in the middle of the road. And it's like no matter how far I got away from it, it never changed size at all. It stayed the size for a good half a mile, right? So, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't know what it is. Fuck it. I ain't got time. It was late, and this is like before I really became fully comfortable with my spirituality, as far as seeing shadow figures, as far as seeing ghosts or experiencing things that was supernatural of nature. Um, so man, let me tell you, this shit was crazy. So as I'm driving, I try to ignore it, right? So I just kept my eyes on the road. I didn't even look in the rearview mirror for like 2 minutes. Then I looked back up, and it's like the figure grew. So it was like this time it was closer. I would say it was probably 10, 10 car lengths behind me, right? When I first initially seen it. But this time it moved up to like 7 car lengths, right? So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And as I'm going down the road, every time I take my eyes off the rearview mirror and I look at the road, it seems like it would get closer to me. Like it really seemed like it would get closer to me, right? So at this point, I'm like, yeah, okay, it's some shit going on. I'm on these back roads. North Carolina has so much history. Ain't no telling what the hell done happened on this road, right? So it gets to the point where this figure is literally, it looked like it's almost touching my trunk. Pause. Pause. But it looks like this figure is literally touching my trunk, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? You feel me? Like I look behind me and I can't see the figure. But looking through the rearview mirror, it was always there. It was always there. Now, by this time I'm just now getting to the point where excuse me. I'm just now getting to the point where I can make a left. I can make a left on what is Capodary? Yeah, I can make a left on Capodary Road. And if you're from Anson County, then you know what I'm talking about. But it's just not getting to the point where I can make a left on Capodary Road to go ahead and turn home and, you know what I'm saying, get to 52 and everything. So once I made that left, it disappeared. Like the figure just completely disappeared. Like it just disintegrated. And when I got home that night, I was still standing on 52 at the time. I got home that night, I was like, what the fuck was that? It just threw me for a loop. Like I really don't have no explanation for that. And like this was before I really learned exactly what shadow people were and shadow figures were. So it just that's one of my other paranormal experiences. And when I tell you it had me rattled, it did. You know what I'm saying? It did. But because I've never experienced anything like that, it also felt like something was after me. You feel me? Like it really felt like something was after me. So yeah, that's one of my paranormal experiences. Every week every week I would give you a new paranormal experience of my life. Okay, I'm gonna just keep doing that until I don't have any more. But at the rate that stuff is happening, I doubt I'm gonna ever run out at all. Let me fix this mic. Hold on. So yeah, I doubt that'll ever happen. So yeah, episode 3. I did a segment on the Blackout Children, and I did a segment on shadow figures. So that right there was one of my shadow figure experiences. Now what I'm gonna do is oh, hold up. Before I get into these stories, I just want to say Saturday night, it was a lightning storm. No thunder, just lightning. And it's 3 different people that have came to me about shit they seen in that storm and the shit that happened, right? Matter of fact, one of the members, she inboxed me a video, and there was a bright orange light in the clouds. Like, it was a good size too. It was a bright orange light in the clouds, and it stayed there. The video was like a minute. It was like a minute and some change, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just like it was weird. It was weird. It was really weird. And another person, you know what I'm saying, told me that when this whole lightning storm was going on, he was looking up into the clouds, and he could have swore he seen a triangle, a pyramid. He seen a pyramid shape in the clouds. Not like the clouds making a pyramid, but an actual pyramid shape in the clouds. Like something was trying to hide behind the clouds or going through them, or whatever the case may be. But honestly, after that lightning storm, so much weird shit was happening. I mean, yeah, when you have lightning storms, it charges up the ions in the atmosphere. So yes, paranormal activity will be at its highest. If you didn't know that, I'm telling you, lightning storms, thunderstorms, and all that does heighten up paranormal activity. Okay, I mean, that's why in every movie, once everything, like when shit hits the fan and you know all the real shit starts happening, it's usually thundering and lightning, because it supercharges and it gives the paranormal and it gives the spirits, or whatever the case may be, more energy to do whatever and to manifest themselves. So, alright. Now, if you experienced anything during this lightning storm, please feel free to either comment in the group, tell me what you seen, or if somebody has came to you about something they seen, comment it in the group. We can have a whole discussion on it, because I'm pretty sure everybody has witnessed something that day, that Saturday night, this past Saturday night. I'm pretty sure everybody had witnessed something. Okay. Okay, yeah. So let's go ahead and get to these stories, shall we? Now, the first story I have is a story about the Blackout Children, right? So this is the title of the story is called Midnight Caller. Okay, I haven't read the story yet, so as I'm reading it, I mean, we're both learning exactly what's going on at the same time. You feel me? So yeah, I haven't pre-read none of these stories or whatever, and the ones that I did read, and it would take away from the element of surprise. So let's get started. As I said, this story is called Midnight Caller. Alright, so it almost felt like a dream. I woke up to my dog Lucy barking. She was upright on the bed where my husband and I were sleeping with our 22-month-old daughter. staring at our door like an unknown stranger was out there rummaging around. I thought she was freaking out over a house noise. We've only had her 3 months and she was still a puppy. It could have been anything. Our roommate, a creak from the house settling, the awnings moving outside in the breeze. I wasn't too concerned initially. So, I decided the best bet would be to open the door and show her nothing was there. It sounds a bit silly, but it's what we do when our daughter gets scared, right? And I figured it should work with a puppy too. I opened the door and she raced to the front door. She stood there snarling at the door. It was an angry, violent growl, one I have never heard her make before. I looked groggily at her and opened the baby gate blocking the doorway, planning to open the door and show her everything was okay. The second my hand reached for the deadbolt, Lucy went wild. She started barking and jumping towards me, and when I touched the metal, she suddenly changed her temper and she whimpered, almost like she was afraid and backing down. As her mannerism changed, so did mine. I wasn't calm anymore. My heart was racing and sinking at the same time. I had been flooded with a mixture of fear and dread. I looked through the peephole. I can't explain why I looked, but I did. Outside were 2 kids. One was just a smidgen shorter than the other and didn't look much younger. I'm 21 and she looked to be 16 or 17. She was slender, pale. Her hair was a light shade of honey blonde and she wore it long, about mid-back, with long, thin, blunt bangs in the front that covered majority of her eyes. She wore jeans, a light wash that's popular nowadays, and a thin-looking olive-colored pullover style hoodie. She held the hand of a small girl who looked to be around 3 or 4. In the same style jeans, a button-down ivory cardigan. The smaller one looked at the floor shyly, but had the same shade of hair tied back into a ponytail. She held a stuffed toy under her free arm, and it was identical to the one my daughter has, as was the style of dress. Had it not been for the feeling of overwhelming dread and fear, I probably would have asked the children to come in, give them some hot tea or hot chocolate to get them out of the bitter cold. Something about them seemed off. At this point, I hadn't made any noise. I hadn't shushed the dog or grumbled. Nothing. I hadn't turned on any lights. These kids had no indicators that I was at the door. The older one spoke. She had a voice that was mature, confident, strong, and accentless. She held her head tilted downward so I couldn't see her eyes. She said, "We have to use your phone." I stood frozen in fear. How did she know I was there? She raised her head to face me directly, and that was when I saw her eyes. The reason I couldn't see them through the bangs before, because they were black, or midnight blue, or dark purple. Either way, they were otherworldly. She said, "Our mother is worried." As someone who's always been interested in creepy stories, I knew what she was the second she looked at me through the door. I never have been one to believe in these things. As a staunch atheist and skeptic, when it comes to the paranormal, I had written off many ghost stories from friends and family members eager to tell their tale. I didn't believe it. Still, I couldn't rationalize my way out of this. I was standing with nothing but a thin wooden door between me and a black-eyed kid. There was no questioning what was right in front of me. I did not answer her. Slowly and silently, I backed away from the door. Lucy is still shaking at my ankles. She kept talking. "Just let us in to use your phone." I took another step back. With that step, the tone changed. At first, she seemed polite. When I took that second step back, she became commanding, almost hostile. "We're not going to hurt you. If we wanted to do that, we would have just broken in. I'll ask again. May we come in and use your phone? Lucy snarled at the door, and I inched backwards. Thought something inside me seemed to be slowly pulling me back towards the door. It wasn't a physical pulling so much, but as a subconscious need to go back and let them in. I got to my room door, covered up the window, locked the door, and sat there in the dim light of the nightlight. I heard her call me back to the door once more, and then quiet. I didn't go back to sleep that night. And I haven't been sleeping right ever since. I know from reading about them Blackout Children that they can't come in without permission. I know they haven't hurt anyone, but I still fear I'll be the exception. When I told my husband, he said it was just a dream. He keeps telling me to forget it. But this lingering feeling of sadness, this dread when the house is silent at night, this fear of a knock at the door tells me otherwise. And that story is from No Sleep 2012. Well, see, the Blackout Children they're real. They're real, folks. You really gotta be careful out here. And as I said before, that's my whole point and my whole reason of doing this podcast, so I can go ahead and inform y'all of things like this, because you never know when it may happen. You never know. And yes, there hasn't been any confirmed, I repeat, there hasn't been any confirmed cases of where they have killed or hurt somebody. But then again, anybody who encounters them, never let them in the house or wherever they are. Whatever space they are occupying, they never let them in. So just keep that in mind. Be safe out here, people. Be safe. Good story. Good story. That's dope. That's dope. Good story. All right. So the next story I got is called the Boo Hag. Now this is a North Carolina folklore, aka urban legend. Right? Now when I hear the title the Boo Hag, I'm pretty sure it's along the lines of the Baba Yaga. Like I said, I haven't read the story before, so I'm not entirely sure, but I will see. Okay, so once there were two men who had been friends all their lives. They married two beautiful women about the same time, and everything seemed fine. But one day, one of the men came to ask his friend, "When you wake up at night, is your wife in bed with you?" "She sure is," said his friend. "Why do you ask?" "When I lie down in the bed at night, my wife is with me, but when I wake up in the middle of the night, she's gone. But then, come morning, she's back in bed." "Man," said the friend, "I think you married a Boo Hag." Now, they knew this was serious. A Boo Hag is a kind of witch that can slip out of her skin and fly around at night, causing all kinds of trouble in the world. A Boo Hag can kill a man just by sucking all the blood from his body through his nose. They'll get on a man and ride him at night so he can't move and can't breathe. A Boo Hag is not something you ever want to meet, but surely not something you ever want to be married to. So the man asked his friend what should he do. "You gotta wait until she slips out of her skin in the middle of the night, and then you find that skin. Look under the stairs. That's where Boo Hags like to hide their skin. You can take that skin and pour salt and pepper all over it. Then she won't be able to get her skin back on." And so that night the man went to bed with his wife and pretended to be asleep. About midnight, he felt her slip out of bed beside him. He waited for her to get downstairs and then got out of bed and then quietly hid where he could see her. He saw his wife pull all her skin and roll it up into a ball and hide it under the stairs. Then she flew right up the chimney, going out to cause trouble in the world. Well, that man didn't waste any time. He went and got that skin and salted it and peppered it real good. Then rolled it back up into a ball and hid it. Put it back under the stairs where she found it. Where he found it. Then he went back to bed and waited until early in the morning when he heard a noise of something coming down the chimney. And he heard his wife's voice speaking softly. Skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this is me. Skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this is me. But he knew with all that salt and pepper, she couldn't get back into her skin. He waited and heard his wife speak again. Skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this is me. Skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this is me. And he knew that she was stuck without her skin. He heard her coming up the stairs and pretended to be asleep. He felt his wife crawl into the bed with him and wrap herself tight up in the sheets. But he reached his hand over and he could feel something warm and raw and rubbery in the bed next to him. After that, he didn't need to pretend to be asleep. When the morning broke, the man got up and said to his wife, "Time to get up, babe. It's time for breakfast." But she said, "I ain't getting up. I'm sick," and laid there wrapped up tight in that sheet, not showing 1 inch of herself. The man said he'd go get a doctor, but she said the doctor cost too much money. So the man proceeded to say he was going to hold a garden. The man went outside and hid under the window. Sure enough, he heard his wife come down the stairs and call out again. Skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this is me. Skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this is me. That was enough for the man. He went down to fetch the conjure man who would know what to do. He told the conjure man his story, and the conjure man told him to go home and start a big barrel of pitch boiling, and he would be by shortly. So the man went home, built a fire in the garden, and started a big barrel of water boiling, right? Soon, the conjure man walked up the road, and the two of them went inside and went upstairs to where the woman was back in bed, all wrapped up tight in the sheets again. The conjure man said, "What ails you, woman?" She said there was nothing wrong. But the conjure man wasn't having none of that. He ripped the sheet right off of her, and there she was, lying there all raw and bloody. "Man, you done married a hag," said the conjure man. And they grabbed her and carried her out to the garden, where they threw her in that big barrel of boiling water and burned that hag alive. What else could they do? Dope. It was a real dope story. So that wasn't nothing like the Baba Yaga. It wasn't. The Baba Yaga is said to be this witch who rides around on the cauldron, who lives in the house with chicken feet, literally a chicken foot house, and just, just like to, I don't know how to put it, man. It's crazy. Like, I would do a segment on the Baba Yaga. I actually had a homeboy in basic training who had a run in with a Baba Yaga when he was camping one day, but that's for another time. All right, so Storytime Wednesdays. I'm not gonna kill y'all with a long ass video. You feel me? Because my videos already be long enough. So I think I'm gonna just stick with 2 stories. 2 stories, a personal account, and that's it. So until next Wednesday, and as always, if you would like for me to read your paranormal experiences or supernatural experiences, you can send them to paranormallegendssociety@gmail.com. I had to change it. I was having problems with the last one. So if you have submitted to the old email, just please send everything to the new email, and I will surely get to you. But as always, peace and blessings to everyone, and enjoy your night. And I hope that you enjoyed the stories. Stay safe.